it doesn't click in their little brains. When he noticed that I didn't have a hand, he just... You have to be willing to find the light though. You have to be willing to believe in yourself and to believe in your story and to believe that there's more than what you're going through, and that what you're going through is going to bring you further into who you're supposed to be and your calling, and find the good in it. Hey guys. Whoa. Just fan kicked and hello. 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 Alright, we're done.
Hey guys,
Welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Kristie, Sita, and we post videos every Wednesdays and Fridays. Today we're doing a story time because we all love story time, don't we? Yes, we do. Okay, so these stories are, I've been waiting to tell you guys them, and I actually have one other reaction that I'm gonna save for another day, which is a reaction from someone that happened on the set of Disney Descendants 2, and it is my all-time favorite story, best, funniest reaction ever. But I'm gonna save that one for another day because today we're gonna talk about kids' reactions to my disability. And I've had two really, really extreme cases of this happening. And so I just want to share these with you because they're really funny. And also these stories are gonna lead to something that's been really on my heart recently on what I can do to change these reactions and to make them not so dramatic when children are seeing people that are different for the first time. And so let's just get into this video, and you guys are gonna laugh because kids are crazy. Kids are just crazy. Okay, here we go. Starting with number one, it takes place at a dance studio. Okay, so for this day, I was substitute teaching at a studio in Vancouver. I've taught there before, but I'm always careful with that like 3 to 5 age group because they just don't understand, and even when you tell them a story of what happened, it doesn't click in their little brains in there. It doesn't make sense. They don't understand. They'll ask the same question a million times, which I get it, you're children, it's fine. But in terms of my case, when I'm trying to teach a class, it can be super, super frustrating. And on this one day in particular, and in this one day in particular, none of my tricks were working because normally I'll like normally I'll bribe the children to say, I'll put up my hair for you at the end of class, or I'll show you how to do a push-up at the end of the class, or things like that, because they're so fascinated by it. And so normally that's kind of part of my way to get through these days. But no, in this class there was a little boy, cute little boy, but just a little crazy little thing. And so when he noticed that I didn't have a hand, he just screamed, and just started bawling his eyes out because he was terrified of me. Like terrified of me. And so he proceeded to cry and go in a corner. And so he went to go, he's like in the corner, like crying, he's like, and so he's crying, and so I go up to talk to him and he goes, "Don't come near me, don't come near me, don't come near me." Because he literally thinks I'm like a monster, guys. Like I'd be like halfway across the room from him and he would be screaming, saying for me to get away because he was scared of me. It's just an absence of a hand. It's a very small difference than to some people that have disabilities, and this kid just could not process it, and he literally thought it was probably straight out of one of his like horror cartoon movies or whatever that he watches, and he wouldn't stop all class. And then he actually ended up having to leave because I had to get the office to help this little kid because he could not process my hand. Like he just could not process it, and the kids, they were getting distracted, and then they were getting scared, and then everyone was just scared of me. Like everyone was just scared that I didn't have a hand and didn't know what I was or what that meant, or they just thought I was crazy. The thing that tells me in that situation is that kid has never been exposed to someone that is missing a limb or to any disability, whether that, you know, shows on your appearance or not. That kid had no knowledge that there was people that didn't look exactly like him. And so for me, that, it really makes my heart like tender, because I'm like, why do kids not know this? Because it's not normal. I mean, yes, there's more normal people than disabled people, but there's disabilities everywhere, and it's a normal, it's a normal thing. It's an okay thing. It's not something that's disgusting. It's not something that's wrong. It's something that makes them unique, and it's a beautiful thing at the end of the day. And I think it's just such a shame that kids are not educated on this, because that transfers all the way into elementary school, and then when they get bullied in elementary school and then they're moving forward, and they just get in this mindset that people with disabilities don't need to believe that they're any different or any less significant than people that look like everybody else. And so that kind of goes into my next story before I get all on that passionate train. But this is when I was working at Lululemon, and there was a kid, and he came into my change, like I was running the change room area, and he comes up and he goes, "Mom!" like, Mom, she has no hand. And this isn't like a baby, like this is like a child for sure, like maybe 6 years old or 5 years old. Like he's literally chasing me around, like staring at my stomach like this, like following me and going, Mom, Mom, Mom. And so again, I'm like, me being in that position, I'm like, what do I do? Like, how do I handle this? And this is something that I still face a lot, and I'm like actually really afraid of children. I've conquered adults, I get the adults, I can talk to the adults, I can, you know, use it to inspire them and to help them and speak to them, but there's a certain age group that just doesn't really listen and doesn't understand it. It's really, really hard for me, and I actually find that I'm like, as you guys know, I'm super not ashamed of my body, I'm not ashamed of my condition, but whenever I'm around kids, I like put my hand in my pockets so that they can't see it, because luckily I have a lot left that if my hand looks like it's in a pocket, you wouldn't know that there's no hand. And so just because like that's a fear of mine that I'm still learning to face, and I'm still learning to talk to children because I do want to be able to help them, I do want to be able to inspire them. It's just really, really hard when I'm trying to process it and they don't understand, and we're in public and it's embarrassing to me still, and I'm still getting used to it because as comfortable as I may seem, it's still hard sometimes to be living with a different body than everybody else, and there's always those situations where I never know what's going to happen, or if someone's going to yell at me on the bus or on the train or whatever. Like there's a lot of weird incidents that's kind of happened like that, or people won't say anything and they'll just stare, like they'll just be like, and that doesn't help either, right? So this is something that I've been really passionate about, that I've been thinking of. I'm like, how do we change this? What are children seeing at the first sight to think that there's not people out there that are different? And so something that I really like, I just wanted to throw it out there because it's almost holding myself accountable to doing it, but something that I really want to do in the next 2 years is write a children's book that has disabled characters in it, and that is featuring a couple different disabilities and not highlighting them as a disabled character, but just having them in the storybook. So having someone in a wheelchair, having someone that's missing a limb. And yeah, so I just really want to try and integrate this into children's minds younger, because there's not everyone that has these situations in person are strong enough to handle it either, and it can really break someone. And I remember for me, like that Lululemon one was at the very beginning. I think it was in my first year, and the one teaching I actually haven't taught since then, that age group, because now they terrify me. And so I just want to do everything that I can to just educate kids and make adults or kids that have disabilities feel like they're not super strange or they're not normal, and that it's not something that's not okay, because it's so beautiful and it's so okay and it makes us who we are. But I think it's so hard to believe in who you are when you're constantly getting accused by people around you for being so different. And I know from, I mean, at least from the storybooks I read, but a majority of storybooks are white characters and normal characters. I never read about disabled characters ever. And so I want to change that. I want to put something on the market that's going to be open to everybody and feature beautiful people of all kinds. And so yeah, that's kind of, I've just been wanting to share those stories because I think it's so interesting about kids and their reactions, and you guys ask about people's reactions of what happens to me, and so those are my top 2 kids stories. Kids are crazy. If you have any tips on how to deal with kids and how to explain things to them, let me know down below. Let me know what you think of these stories, what other stories you want to hear. And you've got to wait for my next video because, well, it won't be my next video, but it'll come soon, probably closer to the Descendants 3 premiere, which will be in the summer. And I'm going to share with you guys this story because it is so funny. Gets me every single time. It is just the best reaction ever. And so stay tuned for that, coming soon. Thank you so much for listening to my story time. I hope you guys are having a great week. I'm so thankful for all of you guys. Whoa, I just did like a head wrap. I'm so thankful for all of you guys. Thank you for supporting me and not making fun of me and accepting me for who I am. I'm so grateful, and I just love you guys so much, and I will see you next week. See you in my next video.